the key thing for people is to get clear. What do I want? What does my ideal life look like?
So, Jack Canfield, you are an amazing man. I'm so honored, humbled to have you here. You are literally the co-author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, which has sold, I think, a record of how many? Like 50? How many million?
500 million books.
500 million books. That's just like blows my head away. You're a star in The Secret. You are known as America's #1 success coach. I could go on and on and on. So I'm just thrilled, delighted that you are here to add your voice, your energy to the amazing people that are transformational leaders and authors, having the voice that says we can in fact have it all.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks you.
Yeah. So how do you define having it all? What's your it? What's your all?
Well, I think everybody's it is different, and I think for me, it's being able to do what I want, when I want, wherever I want, as much as I want, that kind of thing. And ultimately, have all the resources so I can fulfill what I call my soul's purpose, which is to inspire and empower people to live their highest vision in the context of love and joy. And so, it's funny, I was thinking about this when I knew you were going to be interviewing me, and I made a list of what is my it? What does it all look like? And I wrote down love, fun, food, friends, travel, connection, adventure, learning, growing, inner peace, beauty in my home, wonderful sounds to listen to, great romance, good sex, spiritual experiences, transcendence, insight, enlightenment and understanding, laughter, entertainment, good wine, spontaneity, appreciation, being supported by my staff, having enough people to really support me to do the work I want to do, to be appreciated and acknowledged and recognized for my work, and to be able to travel around the world and just be able to make a difference. So, it's a lot of stuff, and you don't do all of that in any one given week. But the point is, it's a life that's become so magical and so full. And I think that for me, I wake up every morning in a state of gratitude for having been taught by my teachers how to go and create all that.
That's amazing. And I love that here you are. You're like one of the top leaders, top teachers, and you still write it down. And I love that at the fundamental, you are a typical man, food and sex.
Well, those were both in there, but there was a lot of other stuff.
A lot of other stuff too, but I just had to say that. That made me giggle. And you got to throw wine in there too. Really good wine.
Exactly.
But I love that about you, because it's, you got really super clear, and that's what you teach people to do. And I want to say what your mission has been. You certainly have touched my life in that way, and I know countless others, people that I know, with the teachings that you have. And because of you, I now get to do, and I think I said that the first time I met you, truly meaning that because of what you have done in your own personal life and the things that you've accomplished and your teachings, I now get to do what I do. And so for that, I'm truly grateful. So, and I like to call that like all the things you described as having it all moment,
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So what is your core belief, either about yourself or the universe, that allows you to create that whole entire experience of having it all?
Well, I started out my work with self-esteem, and one of my mentors was a man named Nathaniel Brand, who said that the definition of self-esteem was feeling lovable, capable, and significant. So if you feel lovable, then you feel like you're worthy of relationship and worthy of being included by other people in their lives. And if you're competent, you can create whatever results you want in your life. And then meaningful and significant means you make a difference. You do something that matters. And for me, when I'm doing that, I feel like I believe that I can do that. And that gives me the sense that I can create any result that I want. And so I believe that when I start out, I may have to learn something. I may have to team up with other people who know things I don't know. I may have to spend some money, build teams, whatever. But the reality is that I know I have the capacity to do something. I teach in my seminars to never say the word can't. So if someone says, "Can you play the piano?" I don't say I can't. I say, "I don't know. I've never tried yet. I'm sure I can if I apply myself." Mm-hmm. So I believe there's nothing I couldn't do. Learn to do ballet, learn to fly a plane, scuba dive, whatever. And with that belief, then when I start something, I just gather the resources I need and move forward. And so far, every goal I've ever set has been accomplished.
And you've set some pretty lofty goals.
I have.
Pretty amazing goals.
We set a goal to sell 1 billion books by the year 2020 to impact 1 billion lives through philanthropy and television and movies and so forth. I think we've easily impacted 1 billion people just through The Secret and through the Chicken Soup books, but we're still shooting for that billion book goal. And I mean, and there's little goals. Like right now, I weigh 209 pounds. My goal is to get down to 195. I have a big frame, so it's not like I should weigh 150. But, it's a goal that I set. I set a goal a couple of years ago to be able to do 100 push-ups in a row. So I'm constantly doing things that stretch me to just exercise that muscle of manifestation.
Beautiful. I love that. And I have to tell you this too. I heard you say that a long time ago, probably about 10 years ago now, and that's a long time ago, but 10 years ago, about not saying can't. And
Yeah.
I bring that into my family and with my two kids who are 4 and 5. So like, I can't. It's like, no, you just don't know how. You might need help or you haven't done it before, but it's like eradicate that word can't. And I know for me, when I do that in my own life, it just literally freed me up. And it just feels so good.
No, absolutely. I muscle test people in my trainings. I'll put their arm out, I'll push down on it, and I'll say, just resist. They're strong, and I say, say something you can't do. And they'll go, well, I can't be a millionaire. Their arm goes weak, or I can't skydive. Their arm goes weak. Now say I can be a millionaire. Their arm stays strong. And so, literally, that belief is just see. All beliefs are just a choice. You just choose to believe it or you don't. And you say you have evidence for your belief, but usually, once you believe something, you will attract evidence for that to prove you're right. But the fact is, you can choose. The thing I got really clear about early on, and it really flipped me out, was we are able to believe anything we want. Then I went nuts for about 3 months going, what if I choose the wrong thing to believe? It's like,
Yeah.
and then realized at one point, the only beliefs that matter are what are the beliefs that will get me where I choose to want to go. And so it's really a choice. And we see that a lot of people their beliefs are unconscious. But once you believe that you can do it all and have it all, and I mean, the truth is you can't have it all. One of my friends is a comedian. He said, where would you put it if you had everything in the world,
Yeah.
But you can do everything you want to do at some point in your life. Any experience you want to have, I believe you can create that.
Yeah, I think there's a discussion that has to take place because when someone says, well, you can't have it all, in the sense of like, there's women that have written books right now for women saying, ladies, you can't have it all. And it's like you have to really define what that means because realistically, can you have all the money in the world? No. And why would you want to? Can you have all the houses in the world? And like your friend said, like if you had all the shoes or, in my case, purses or
Right.
dresses, where would you put it all? So there's
Right.
that very superficial level. But then in the aspect of the different aspects of our life, in our bodies, in our finances, in our careers, like what's having it all for us? Because it's so defined
Right.
and so it has a different meaning for every single person.
I think everybody can have all that they need to do all that they want to do. That's a real different than having everything in the world.
Right.
You can have enough money to fulfill your purpose, to fulfill your life, to feel, to do the things you want to do. For some people, like Steven Spielberg, he needs a lot of money to make a movie. I don't need that much money to do what I do, so I don't need to be a billionaire. But for someone like Oprah, who owns her own television network, you need that kind of money to be able to underwrite movies and shows and so forth. So I've always been able to manifest enough money to do what I want to do, to go where I want to go, to get the medical care I want to have, to eat the kind of food I want, organic food and so forth. So it's really, I think the key thing for people is to get clear, what do I want? What does my ideal life look like? And then once you've figured that out or decided it or chosen it, then it's called, what will I have to create in order to produce that? And then that's called enough. And one of the big issues I think a lot of people have today is we are reaching a place where we're using more of the earth and the earth can replace itself in terms of the amount of fish we're taking out of the sea, in terms of the amount of minerals we're taking out of the land for our food, the water we're polluting, and so forth. And so we have to revision this idea of what abundance is and move to something called sufficiency, because we don't need 5 houses. You can rent a house in Hawaii for 3 weeks when you go there. You don't have to have a house in Palm Springs, a house in Hawaii, a house in the Hamptons, a house in New York, and so forth. So I think we have these visions of what that billionaire lifestyle looks like. It's been touted on television and People magazine and so forth. But you can have a nice car, you can have safe, transportation, you can go pretty much anywhere in the world you want to go. But what's enough? And we each need to define what that is and then create that for ourselves and not hoard. Because as you know, when you hoard energy, it stops the flow. And when it stops the flow, then it doesn't move through you and you can't attract more. And it's about shepherding and stewarding more than it is about owning and collecting.
I appreciate that discussion because I think it goes on the heels of also thinking that the more stuff we get, then the happier we'll be. And then we're kind of like, well, that didn't work. So let me try if I get more. Maybe it's just if I had more stuff. And then we continue to strive for more. And it's like it's pulling us more and more away from that, satiated feeling, that fulfillment feeling.
Right.
It's like it gets emptier and emptier and emptier.
Well, I think it was in a Rolling Stones song. They said you can't get enough of what you don't really need. I can't get no satisfaction.
Yeah.
And the idea is, I'll tell you a quick story. There's a guy I just wrote about it. I'm revising my book, The Success Principles. And there's a story I put in there about a man named Kenneth Baring, who one time was the co-owner of the Seattle Seahawks football team. He was worth $600 million. And he wasn't happy. And he said his life went through 4 stages. The first stage was stuff. He said, if I have all the right stuff, the car, the house, the TV, the big screen viewing room, if I have the boat, the plane, all that, I'll be happy. And he wasn't happy. So he said the second stage of his life was called better stuff. So he bought a bigger house and a bigger car and all that. And he still wasn't happy. And he said then the third stage was different stuff. He said, maybe I'm buying the wrong kind of stuff. So that's when he bought the football team with his friends, which cost, a lot of money. And he thought, I'll be happy now. I can sit in the owner's box. I'll be on television. I'll get to go down to the dressing room. I'll be a local celebrity. Still wasn't happy. And then he said he entered the fourth stage of his life quite by accident. A friend called him and said, I'm taking a private plane over to Bosnia-Herzegovina, and we're going to drop off some wheelchairs for kids who've lost their legs from landmines in the war over there. Would you like to come with me? He said, sure. Well, they gave out 40 wheelchairs that day at the airport. As he said, he was putting a child in a wheelchair. This young boy was about 11 years old who had no legs. When he went to turn away to get another wheelchair for another child, the boy wouldn't let go of his leg. And he turned around and he said, through tears, the boy said, please don't leave yet. I want to memorize your face. So when we meet again in heaven, I can thank you one more time.
Oh my God, I got total chills.
I know. I got chills when he said it. And he said, that was the first moment in my life I felt pure joy. And he said, that's when I entered the fourth stage of my life called purpose. Mm-hmm. And he said, I found my purpose. He's given away over 40,000 wheelchairs to kids in third world countries. He's now building wells in some of those countries too, because of the fact that there's no water in some of these African countries and so forth. So I think as we move through what, Maslow's hierarchy, which many of us studied in college psychology classes, we have these physiological needs for comfort and food and sex and water and heat and so forth. And then we move up to having, needs that are at a higher level where we need safety. We want to make sure that our house is safe, our kids are safe, our job is safe, our money's safe, and so forth. And then we move up to belonging needs. We want to know we belong. And then we move up to esteem needs. I feel good about myself. And then to transcendent needs of service and so forth, enlightenment and all that. So wherever you are in that moving up of Maslow's hierarchy, your needs are going to be more dominant in that area of your life. And there's nothing to be ashamed about. But as we move up into purpose, which is, I think, where we ultimately want to get to, then most of the other stuff falls away. You do need enough. I mean, I need enough to pay my staff, have my office, buy the books I want to read, travel to the seminars I want to attend, and so forth. So that I do need a certain amount of money to play the game I'm playing called Jack Canfield's fulfilling himself by doing the service. But I don't need more than that.
That's beautiful. Well, that's my next question is when you're in that place of really feeling like you have it all, like, just like it's exuding from you. What is that essence? What is that vibration for you?
Well, I think it's a combined feeling of contentment and love. And I'll give you an example. I was literally about a month ago, we did a conference for the Transformational Leadership Council in Croatia. It was our 10th anniversary. And afterwards, 30 of us rented a small little sailing ship. It had 3 masts, 24 cabins. All people I knew. We got on that boat. We sailed around the Croatian islands and the Aegean Sea for a week. And one night we went into this town called Hvar, Hvar, and there was a nightclub there. on this island called Carpe Diem, seize the day.
Hmm.
I seized the night. And so we rented a table, which was not cheap. And we paid for all the alcohol. It was one of these very chic little clubs. And about 20 of us went in there. And we danced from about 10 o'clock until 4 in the morning.
How fun.
And we drank some alcohol. And at one point it rained. We were dancing in the rain because half the club was inside, half was outside. And I'm hugging people from Russia and Scotland and Germany. And they're going, I love you, brother. And I'm going, I love you too, man. And it was a sense of just like, what more could I possibly have? I'm in a beautiful place with people I love, enjoying my body, feeling love with people like this common brotherhood of man with people that were spiritually awake. And I thought, this is as good as it gets. And, in that moment, I had it all. And I have that same feeling when I'm holding my grandson. I have that same feeling when I'm running a workshop. I have that same feeling when I step off a plane in Hawaii, when I'm writing a book and it's working, So I think it's that sense of appreciating the moment, appreciating what you have. And it can be as simple as a good meal. It can be as simple as my wife coming out of anesthesia when she had her hip operation and going like, yes, she's still with us, because, it's always a danger.
Absolutely. I love that, Jack, because, it's so true. It's having those having it all moments. There's the fullness of our emotions, the fullness of that appreciation. It's like, it's just like, this is the best, it's like, this is just this is it for me in this particular moment. It's not a like, okay, paint a picture of the most perfect thing that society says we should have. The husband, the kids, never to be changed or removed, because as we grow, as we expand, as we continue to evolve, I bet your it and your all today is different than it was 40 years ago.
It is, and it will always change because we grow, as you said. Situations change, our needs change over time. Certainly, my needs for fulfillment are deeper than they were when I was 20 years old. It definitely merges. And I think one of the great things that I've learned in the last 20 years is that all suffering comes from trying to hang on to something that's good, that needs to be released. Or trying to push away something you don't want to feel, like grief or sadness or whatever, that might be. But if you're open to allow things to flow through you, including your ideas, your feelings, your emotions, all of that, which, I've learned through meditation, through things like Byron Katie's work of, loving what is, not having to push away what isn't. And also the Sedona method, where I've learned to just welcome whatever experience into my life. It's kind of a more Buddhist approach, you might say, and then not hang on to things. So even when I was in Croatia, there was a certain point at that, 4 in the morning, whenever it was, it's time to go to bed now. We can't do this until another midnight. Everything has an ending to it. And you have to be willing to let go of that as well, including relationships, jobs, a reputation you have. Like, I was known as a chicken soup guy, and all of a sudden I got tired of writing chicken soup books. And so now I'm the success coach guy, and maybe that'll change to the leadership guy or something. Who knows? And it's always kind of scary to let go of what you've been hanging on to that's been doing so well for you. But if you don't let go of that when something new is emerging, then you don't grow and evolve into the next thing that you're wanting to become from some deep level inside. Or as Michael Beckwith says, it's God expressing himself through you as you. And so as the universe evolves, we're part of that evolution, and we have to evolve as well.
Beautiful. Jack Canfield, you're amazing. I so appreciate your wisdom and just the energy you bring into a conversation. This for me is a having it all moment, and really, truly appreciating you so much. So thank you for being part of this movement. Thank you for all that you've done to help all of us, have a more conscious understanding about success and law of attraction and, manifesting whatever we want, all of that. So thank you very much.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Please comment below what other topics you'd like us to cover. And if you'd like more episodes, please subscribe to the channel or check out our podcast on ChristyWhitman.com.